I think it's because I'm finally not trying to be cool. I am just trying to be myself and be really honest about who I am and how I feel. Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ebel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and join me today for Vlogmas Day 9, where I want to have a little chat about loneliness. I want this to be a helpful, positive chat where we can start to look at our loneliness as not always a bad thing. I'm so grateful that I feel comfortable talking about this now because I feel like I'm on the other side of it, which isn't to say that I don't have lonely days or FOMO or, that's not to say there aren't those few days or instances when it happens, but we aren't going to have perfect mental health. Life isn't always about feeling all the happy emotions. I think one of the good things I learned in 2019, 2020 was that we're supposed to feel all of our feelings. I spent a lot of my life being depressed about being depressed because I thought I was supposed to be happy every day. And I really recommend Glennon Doyle's book, Untamed. That is where, I think she has a whole chapter about it called Feel All the Feelings or something like that. And just having that realization that it's okay to not be okay, it's okay to be sad and angry and jealous and lonely, and to have these emotions that we label as negative, but they're just human emotions. We're human beings. We will have all the emotions. And so ignoring those bad emotions, pretending they don't exist, sweeping them under the rug, or like feeling worse about yourself because you feel those human feelings, like I feel so much better now. I feel so much freer, mentally healthier, just being able to say those things, to be able to say, I feel lonely. So something else I learned about myself over the last couple years is that I'm an introvert. Like, I spent so much of my life thinking I was an extrovert or thinking that I was supposed to be an extrovert. And that's something that alcohol did, was put on that mask of the party girl and the life of the party and talking to everybody and like super social. When in reality, I'm pretty shy. So when it comes to loneliness, I think there's a difference between introverts and extroverts. Like when I think back to any time in my 20s, essentially, when I was feeling lonely, I would drink to go out and be social with people because I thought that was what was going to make me feel not lonely, was being around people. But that never really helped the feeling of loneliness I had. I mean, it would maybe mask it for that evening out with people or whatever, but it never really helped. So I'm not sure if it's different for extroverts, because if you didn't know, essentially the difference between introverts and extroverts is how we recharge our batteries, where we get our energy from. And for an extrovert, they need to go out and be social and be in crowds of people, and that energizes them and makes them like feel alive. And for an introvert, when you have too much time with too many other people, it just completely drains you, and you need that time alone to recharge. Like I said, I just learned this a few years ago about myself, and it just made so many things in my life make sense once I accepted I was an introvert and stopped looking at it as a bad thing. And I'm not sure exactly where I got that idea that being an extrovert was good and an introvert was bad. Somewhere along the lines of social programming, that you think of introverts as these nerdy loner type of people, and you think of extroverts as the pretty popular crowd, something like that. So once I realized I was an introvert and accepted that about myself and came to acknowledge that, hey, I don't mind being alone. I actually need that alone time. I do feel better after I've recharged by myself, and then I feel like I can go out and be social, and like accepting that part of my personality and embracing it, like, again, the feeling of freedom and the feeling of loving myself and accepting who I am and not trying to change myself, not trying to be somebody different. And one of the biggest things I realized is that I wasn't really lonely. I was just alone. I've been single for the last 6 years, and I've lived alone for the last 8 years. And there was a lot of those years of feeling that being alone equaled loser. And like I said, it was, this kind of social programming that was in my brain. And I just don't feel like that anymore. I don't feel like I'm a loser because I'm sitting home alone on a Friday night. I feel happy that I get to do what I want, whatever night of the week it is. I hope this is making sense and is helpful in some way. But I think that so much of our loneliness comes from that social programming that tells us that we should be feeling alone and feeling like a loser and stuff like that. So quitting drinking, without a doubt, has very much altered my mental health in the best way possible. Alcohol is a depressant, period. I spent a lot of years going out drinking just so I wasn't sitting home alone. And now I look back on all those years and I'm like, really? I thought I was a loser if I was going to be sitting at home with my younger siblings or my pets or whatever. And it's like, no, that person who was out drinking to cover up their feelings and their true personality, that's when I was a loser. And I'm not saying you're a loser if you go out and socially drink. That's how I felt. I was using alcohol as a crutch, as a mask. So anyways, besides quitting alcohol, there's a couple other things that really help me not feel lonely. And the first one is to get off social media that makes you feel like crap. I cannot tell you how many times I sit down feeling perfectly content with myself and my life, and within 5 or 10 minutes of scrolling social media, I feel like total crap about myself. And I start feeling lonely. And I think different social medias can be different for different people. Like, for example, YouTube is helpful to me. I love to go to YouTube. I can always find something to entertain me. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself. Oddly, the same with TikTok. There's something different about watching videos than the mindless scrolling of reading posts. And I think without a doubt that the best thing that I've rediscovered in the last year to help with loneliness is finding new healthy hobbies. And now I've gone back to those things that I wanted to pursue when I was a kid. The number one thing is reading. When I was a kid, I loved reading, and now I read every single day. Let me take a look at what my reading streak is on my Kindle app. So obviously this is only tracking the books I read in the Kindle app. I have been also trying to read in real life books. So reading is my number one new hobby, but also thinking about things that I wanted to pursue anywhere along my childhood. I've always been a huge fan of dance and gymnastics. I have spent a ridiculous amount of time learning TikTok dances and stuff. Not things I post, but just having the fun of learning that TikTok dance and stuff. I'm telling you, when you quit drinking, you just have time to pursue so many other things. And so I think that thinking about healthy hobbies, thinking about things you wanted to pursue no matter how many years ago they were. We are never too old. I really believe that. I really don't think that you're ever out of time till you're out of time. You know what I mean? And now, I literally just want to feel like a kid again. I want to feel that childlike sense of wonder and play, and everything is new and exciting, and just I love going for those nature walks at State Park. I miss the summer weather when I got to do that every day. And literally every day I'm out there with my phone taking pictures of the bunnies and the deer and the squirrels, and like some of the people that I kind of got to know walking the trails every day would be like, hey, there's a deer over there. And a couple of them called me the deer girl. And I think just looking at life with that childlike sense of wonder and excitement, like that is the beauty of life to me. Like, so life will never be perfect. We will have those bad feelings that are really just part of a list of feelings that human beings feel. In my head, there was all these societal programs that were in there of that being by yourself means you're a loser, spending Friday night alone means you're a loser, being single at 38 years old for the last 6 years means you're a loser. And no, like, I feel like I'm probably the coolest I've ever been in my life. And I think it's because I'm finally not trying to be cool. I am just trying to be myself and be really honest about who I am and how I feel and what I want out of life and my relationships in my life. Quite honestly, I've never felt so content with myself. So I've mentioned my journal in quite a few other videos, and I cannot recommend this enough. I think this has been such a helpful tool for self-reflection. This is a 1 line a day journal where you actually get 5 lines a day. So you write 5 lines a day and the journal lasts for 5 years. I started writing in mine in 2020, so now as I've been writing in 2021, I'm seeing what I wrote last year, and I'm seeing how much better I'm feeling this year, especially where my mental health is concerned. And I really think self-reflection is so important to helping your mental health if you feel like you're struggling. We all have so much worth as human beings, and it's all this outside noise and chatter and judgments and just BS that makes us feel like we're less than what we are. Some of the most helpful books I've read in the last couple years have come from Brene Brown, who talks a lot about being vulnerable and being an imperfect human, how as humans we're all just wired to be connected to each other. We're all searching for that connection. I think her books are very helpful when it comes to those feelings of loneliness and feeling like no one gets you and everybody else has their crap together and you're just, you know, a mess. The Untamed book I mentioned by Glennon Doyle, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and his other book, The Surrender Experiment, I think it was called. I have read so many good books over the last couple years. I will maybe try to compile a list in the comments of this video. And finally, the last thing that's really helped me is my yoga and meditation practice. And that's not all yoga physical poses like we look at it in the US. Meditation is so helpful to stilling that nonstop chatter in your mind. I really recommend that Untethered Soul book by Michael Singer. Okay, I think I've rambled about this for long enough tonight. I hope that this made sense, and I hope that somebody finds it helpful. I think that there's some sort of quote out there about like being your own best friend, and I really think that that is so important because we are all alone inside this human body. Like, even if you have a partner and friends and family and things like that, like all that can go away because we're all going to not exist someday, and we don't know when. Depending on those things to make you feel happy and fulfilled and not lonely, eventually those things are going to go away. And so that concept of being your own best friend and being able to figure things out about yourself, being able to sit with yourself and be alone with yourself and not drive yourself crazy and need to put on a mask of whatever kind. I feel like we do a lot as humans to avoid being alone with ourselves, to avoid being alone with our own thoughts. And I don't know if you can actually have like, I don't know if happiness is the right word, but like that content feeling if you're constantly relying on something else to fulfill you. Does that make sense? I said I was going to quit rambling and I just keep rambling more. So, okay, I'm actually going to wrap this up now. So thank you so much for stopping by my channel today and watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope to see you back again soon. Be well. Penny. Penny says, thank you for watching my mom's channel. Well, geez, Ted, if you're gonna be in the picture, you're gonna be in the picture. Are you gonna be in the video? Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Like he knows what sit down means. I think he's thinking of jumping to the... Hi, Penny. I'm almost done. So thank you so much for stopping. Do you want to be on camera? Be well. Liked my alone time at home, especially with you guys. For so many years of my life. And now I have wonderful cats to entertain me. Come show your cute face. Come here. Penny says thank you for watching. You're the best. You're the best, Penny.